Hey, welcome back to week 5 in our 5-part webinar series. It's all about transformation, healing, trust, hope, and to have that hope and maintain that in these very changing and somewhat challenging times. Hey, Frankie, it's been a year. I was talking to a colleague who's also a coach. You might know her. Do you know Elvira Hoffer?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's been through some challenges too this year and feeling it. So I want to start tonight's webcast with some quotes. I usually start with some quotes. I picked them because they might surprise you as to who said them. Yeah, so here's one. You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages. Any guesses on that? That is Michelle Obama. And Diane's here too. Welcome, Diane. And then here's another quote. When adversity strikes, that's when you have to be the most calm. Take a step back, stay strong, stay grounded, and press on. That's by LL Cool J. And then every great man, every successful man, no matter what the field of endeavor, has known the magic that lies in these words. Every adversity has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. And that was by W. Clement Stone, who's kind of a protege of Napoleon Hill. Matter of fact, Napoleon Hill said almost the same thing. I was on this quote site, and he said almost the same thing, Frankie. So,
Well, I'll give you one of my favorites.
Okay.
And it's, we are continually faced by great opportunity, brilliantly disguised as insoluble problems.
Whoa, who said that?
Lee Iacocca.
Okay.
It's my favorite. It's really my favorite quote. And there's another one by him that also goes with what you've been talking about. And it's the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. How cool is that?
Very cool and true.
Yeah. And true. Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. And if you watch The Secret, there's that fellow in there that had a plane crash, and they said, no, you won't walk. He had a tracheotomy, and you'll never walk again. You'll never live a full life. And he said, nope, I'm going to walk out of here. And he did. And the quote in the movie is, kind of like what a man thinketh, he can becometh, which might have been
Napoleon Hill is still, yeah. What you can conceive, you can achieve.
Exactly. So with these quotes, let's begin tonight's conversation with our guest, Frankie Picasso. Frankie is a Canadian social entrepreneur, talk show host, and champion for change who's been transforming lives, influencing culture for more than 30 years. It's pretty darn good. Professionally, she's a certified business and master coach, trainer, author, artist, activist, radio TV show host. Also just happens to specialize in the impossible. Frankie founded the Good Radio Network, a socially conscious radio platform, as a vehicle for social impact and change. As a professional artist, Frankie's paintings have been featured in the International Book of Contemporary Artists, Volume 6, and can be found on the Fine Art America. Not bad, Frankie. Sale of your artwork and custom orders goes to pay for both the cleft palate surgery for children through Mercy Ships Canada and saving animals in shelters and other humanitarian efforts in need at the time. Frankie's book, Midlife Mojo, won a recognition and the finalist award as one of the 50 great writers you should be reading in 2015. She is also very proud of being a member of the Evolutionary Business Council. They're in Costa Rica this week.
They are.
I know.
They're building a community there. Mm-hmm.
Cool, eh? And coffee on the house, apparently. But that's a group of high-level influencers and thought leaders who are out to cause change in the world, as well as the first female kickboxing promoter in the world, manager of a 12-time champion. So how did you get into that?
Oh, that's an amazing story.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then to just close, longtime animal advocate, passionate about saving animals worldwide, raising awareness for the compassionate treatment of all wildlife and humans. You're also a member of the Canadian Association of Journalists, the Public Speakers Association, and the founder of both the Good Radio Network and the Good Media Network. Welcome, Frank.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, that's it. We're done.
We're done.
Over.
You know me now.
Yeah.
So well.
Yeah. So nice to have Michael and Asha and Diane with us tonight. So, you know, and again, thank you for those of you who are tuning after the fact on YouTube. Frankie, you have led a really highly accomplished life when I read that bio. But, you know, with accomplishments comes some major challenges beyond what many of us can imagine. And it started one summer night, right? You're out with friends on your motorbike, having fun, enjoying each other's company, you know, just not overdoing it, right? And then your life changed. What?
Yeah. Tuesday with the Acme Motorcycle Club. You know the president.
Yeah. Stiles Q.
Stiles Q. Yeah. It was my turn to lead. It was my turn to lead that night, and the guys always go east, and so I thought, okay, we're going to go west. And yeah, it was dusk. It was near dusk. We were out in Caledon on a country highway, and a car ran a stop sign and T-boned me. And you know, I flew up in the air, and when I came down, I didn't know if I was going to live through the night or not, to tell you the truth. It was the most pain I'd ever experienced in my entire life. And the guys were going nuts, like Stiles and you know, the guys behind him. They didn't know what to do. Like, it freaked them out. I think it totally freaked them out beyond what they were accustomed to. And part of it was because I was a girl. And I think, but the guy who ran the stop sign had a wife and a child in the car. They were holding the baby in the front seat. There was no car seat for the baby.
Oh boy.
And the whole weird thing was that when the police came and the ambulance came and fire engines came and nobody could really help me. This guy never ended up getting charged. And all of my witnesses who were there mysteriously disappeared and were never called to court. Stiles wasn't on it anymore. All these guys were gone. So it was very strange. But anyway, I got taken to, two hospitals, one to keep me, I guess, stabilize me. And the next one was, you know, for surgery. And I had ended up breaking both femurs, my hip, my pelvis, and a number of other things. And I was very, very fortunate to be alive. And I really felt while I was on the ground that, you know, there was like a collective breath being held, and there was an umpire going, you know, is she in or is she out? Because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. And I remember when the ambulance came, and I said, don't forget to bring my leg with me because it's not attached anymore. Yeah, it was really weird. It was surreal. And my first thought when I get to the hospital, they get out the scissors and they start cutting your clothes off. And I'm like, wait, just undo them. I just got these chaps. They're my favorite ones. Or, you know, first time I wore my $80 bra, you don't have to cut it off. You know, I didn't hurt my chest. Like, it's funny stuff that goes through your head, right? Mm-hmm. When you have an accident. But my biggest worry, of course, were my kids. They were my number one concern.
They were little then, right?
They were young teenagers, like 13. And when I was in the trauma hospital, and I had already separated from my husband at the time, and he came in when I woke up at the hospital. He said to me, he goes, I guess I'll have to forgive you your transgressions. I'm like, what transgressions? And I'll come back and I'll help you. And I said, guess what? The only thing I didn't hit was my head. I said, no, you still got to go. So I ended up, I thought I was going to be in the hospital 3 months. It ended up being 6 months. And I guess if they told me that, I would have really freaked out. So I lost my job. I was on the Canadian National Dragon Boat team. We were about to go to Shanghai, 8 days from going to Shanghai for a big meet. Didn't get to do that. I was a drummer in a blues band. The band came and picked up all their stuff from my basement out of the band. Lots and lots of changes. So everything went away. My job got reorganized. The only thing I had left was that I still was a mom. That was it.
How did you cope with that? Like,
yeah, it was weird. I went through
that too with this or foot injury, and also my job too this year. So it's like, all of a sudden, like, so who were you? And
well, that's the crux of it, David.
Yeah.
That's the crux, because we think that we're all those things that we think define us. Oh, I'm a drummer. I'm a dragon boater, right? I was in work for the government. You think you're all of those things, but you're none of those things. That's not what the soul is, right? The soul is so totally away from that. The conscious part of you, that's not what we are. So you had to figure out, who am I? Who am I? What do I do in this world? What's my place? What's my purpose? What's my everything? And you may have heard about that dark night of the soul. And I definitely experienced that. And I went through that. And I went on an extensive spiritual journey while I was in the hospital. I started, reading different books. And as I finished that book and I think about something, like, oh, I'd be going, gee, you know what? I need to talk to a Buddhist monk. And like, next thing I know, there's a Buddhist monk walking down the hall, things like that. Like, all of these connections just started firing and happening. It was crazy. And of course, I'm drugged up. I'm drugged up, but it still worked. And it was really interesting.
So how do you survive 6 months?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You focus on recovery. And I learned so many truths that really helped me with coaching. I'll tell you one. One was about your belief system, right? So my belief system, I'm a naturally optimistic person.
Yeah, I'd say.
And I was battered. I mean, I was, 2 legs gone, right? And well, when I was in the rehab hospital, one of they had some nuns. They weren't Catholic, but they were like an Anglican nun. And she came to me. She goes, "Would you go and talk to some of the patients? They don't want to do their physio." And I'm like laying down in a wheelchair, kind of thing. And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. And so I went to visit them, and they had been in motorcycle accidents too. I guess that's why she wanted me to go. And I thought, I could look at it and go, oh, wow, I'm so much worse off than you. And I don't understand why you're not getting better or want to get better. But then I started to think, okay, let me take a survey. Let me just, I'm curious. Let me take a survey. Optimist, negativity, pessimist. What were your parents? What were your parents? And I went around the hospital. What were your parents? I wanted to see, is there a connection between people who do their therapy and want to get better, people who don't want to get better? Like, is it just a natural optimism that you have, or pessimism, or is it inbred or environment? What is it? And as I started to do this, I found that everybody had kind of one of each, and you could go either way. And I think it's just a natural inclination that you're a happy person or you're not a happy person. The girl next to me, she broke her fingernail, and she was screaming, David, screaming at the top. And I'm like, what happened? I broke my nail. I'm like, what? What? Like,
he was in
crazy.
for rehab.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. Oh yeah. So I was going to tell you about the breakthrough as a coach. I'm having physio, and the physiotherapist saying, move your leg. I'm like, I can't. Like, my leg was dead straight, wouldn't move, wouldn't bend. He goes, move your leg. I'm like, I'm trying. He goes, no, move it. You have to move it. You want to walk again? You have to move your leg. I go, I do want to walk again, but my leg's not moving. And finally he gave up on me, and he walked down, and I was in tears and going, God, I really want to move my leg. And then I finally did move it, like just a little, like an inch. And it hit me. I had a commitment to not moving my leg. And that commitment to not moving my leg was because it was going to hurt. So I didn't want more pain. But I didn't want the pain of not walking either. So which is a greater pain, never walking again or having a bit of pain in the interim, right? So obviously never walking again was a greater pain for me. And so that allowed me to move my leg. But as a coach, we have these underlying automatic commitments. We have these underlying commitments that we don't know about, we're not conscious about. And that's why we don't move forward in life. Oftentimes our conscious brain says, I want to move. The subconscious brain says, no, you don't, because it's going to hurt.
Right.
See? And so this was that epiphany I had.
So how do you get past that? Because that's a major block and a major fear. And it stops us in a business or life. Like, I don't want to make another cold call. It's going to hurt. I'm going to get rejected. How do you get past that? How did you get past that?
I'm sorry, but I got a little chihuahua here who's going to start barking a minute, and I can't stop her because she's crazy. It's not my dog. You put game on that. You put game to those no's. And that's the advice I give to anybody in sales, and it works all the time. Two things work. The first thing is everybody has the right to know. So you just, in your head, you know what, I'm not going to sell you anything. Everybody has the right to know. Knowledge is a good thing. I just want you to know about it. You don't have to buy it. You like it, you buy it. You don't like it, don't buy it. You know what? There's another guy down here who's going to like it better. But the main thing is you put game on it. So you go 10 no's, 1 yes. Every 10 no's, strike, 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 I'm going to get a yes. And it's a law of averages. You have to, right? So you turn it into a game. And the other thing is you don't take it personally, because it's not personal. They don't care about me. They didn't know me 5 minutes ago. They're not going to think about me the second I leave their house or their office or whatever. All they care about is, did they like the product? They didn't like the product.
Right.
You cannot take it personally.
So what game were you playing when you're recovering in hospital after this major catastrophic motor?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of games going on, I'll tell you. But my mental game was I'm unstoppable. I can do it. I can do this, and I'm going to do, as long as I'm in creative mode, as long as I'm creating and learning, I'm okay. So I had some lawyers, obviously, because I was in a major accident. And I said to them, you have to get me a laptop. I have to go to school. I have to do something. I cannot sit here and be a vegetable, because if I sit here and be a vegetable, I'm not going to be any good to anybody. So you reclaim your mind and you refocus your mind on something that's actionable and positive, that moves you forward. Now, my mom I'd say she was a pessimist. Mm-hmm. And with her, Chicken Little was sky's always falling. Mm-hmm. Right? Sky's always falling. She's always sick. She had some illness, it made us come running. And so I didn't want to be that person. I never want to be that person. So most people never knew that I was in pain, or that I still am in great pain. I don't need to be the martyr, and I don't want to show it, because that's not how I want sympathy. I don't want your sympathy for that. Don't give it to me. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's really a decision you make. You make that decision, who you want to be and how you want to show up in this world.
How do you not let the fear get to you? Because when you're healing, if you feel like a twitch or, oh, that wasn't there before, how do you not let that get to you? Where, any little thing wrong with you might become something worse, kind of thing. How did you?
Well, what's the greatest thing that what's the worst thing that could happen to you?
You keel over. That's it.
There you go. So unless you're dead, it's not so bad. Maybe, I don't know.
So what did you focus on then? Because I was sharing that story about the guy in The Secret who catastrophic injury, crashed his airplane, and he wouldn't walk. He had, as I said, a tracheotomy, and he walked out of there. He said, "No, I'm going to walk out by Christmas." I was gonna walk out too, and a week later, the rod that they inserted in my femur broke. And our healthcare system, I walked on a broken leg for a year until I could get surgery to get that fixed. So it was really just like one thing after another, pounding. And I had to ask the universe, because I had asked the universe before I went in. I kept feeling like they want to tell me something. Okay, what do you want? Like, be really clear, because I'm not getting it. I don't hear you. So they go, oh, you didn't hear us? You're going to hear us for 6 months now. All you're going to hear is us talking at you. And it was true. They were. But what did they say?
Well, you have to, the reinvention is, I'm here for a purpose, and my purpose is to help people. And so they had to guide me into a new career choice where I would be helping people. Coaching wasn't really known. I thought I was going to become a spiritual psychotherapist. I really thought that's what it was going to be. And I hired a spiritual psychotherapist, and she goes, "You're going to be a coach." I go, "What's that?" She goes, "I don't know, but I heard about it yesterday at a party, and that's what you're going to be." I'm like, "Okay, fine. Let's go figure out what that is." Sorry.
Coach the Chihuahua. Oh, you muted yourself. Okay. There we go.
They're just coming in the door. As soon as they come in the door, she'll be quiet.
All right. I want to welcome Paolo and Malachi is on with us too. So, again, how do you keep your focus in 6 months? Like, what did you focused on? Other work? You focused on your work? You focused on a new beginning. What else did you focus on?
My children. You know, I had kids at home. Like, that was worrisome too, right?
Right.
And it was very difficult to focus because I was on very heavy sets of medication.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened in the hospital was kind of the least of it. What happened after I left the hospital was the worst of it. But while I was in the hospital and recovering, I did have a cousin who would take me out sometimes, and I'd be in a wheelchair, and we'd go to the movie theater, and I learned about life, you know, in a wheelchair, what it's like for people. And I realized that, you know, you're kind of anonymous, and people don't look at you, and they don't want to look at you. And so you're going to buy something, and they kind of ignore you, and you go, here I am, I'm right here, I want to get something, you know? So it's a strange thing. And when you go into washrooms, they actually put the wheelchair at the very end of the stalls. So you have to go through all of this, you know, narrow space and try to turn. Instead of it being the first one, which would make it easier, they put you at the very end. So you have to take the legs off the chair, you have to do all this stuff. So I learned about what it's like to be in a chair and what it's like for people who have to do that every day. It's not something I wanted to do. So it was pretty easy for me to think, I don't want this, I want to walk. You know, I'm going to walk again. And thank God I was prepared in a way, because I was in the very best shape of my life I'd ever been in before my accident, because I was, you know, training for the dragon boat, and we had to run, and we had to do all this stuff, and I was manic about my triceps. Well, you know what? Why was I manic about my triceps? I'd never thought about my triceps in my life. But think about it. I was now, you know, bilaterally, you know, not able to use two legs. I had to lift myself everywhere. And they said, well, we never seen girls be able to do that before. I'm like, oh, well, look at that. I was 46 years old. You know, it's crazy.
You mentioned you were talking to a spiritual psychotherapist.
Yeah.
How did your spirituality change at that time?
It deepened. And it was really interesting because, as I said, you remember I told you, like, you know, you'd read a book and somebody would come. So I was reading a book and a nurse came in and she goes, oh, have you read Yogananda? And I go, no, but I know who it is. And she goes, well, let me get you his book. But tonight I'm going to see the Dalai Lama. I go, oh, wow, how cool for you, right? She comes back the next day with a bracelet. She goes, here. And she goes, the Dalai Lama told me to give it to you. I said, really? And every time I prayed on this bracelet, David, every time I wanted to manifest something or do something, it was like magic. It was like a magic bracelet. It was crazy.
Wow. So it deepened.
It deepened and became more sure. And my intuition became clear. And, you know, I'm still on the journey.
Oh, we all are.
Yeah.
How did God show up for you?
Oh, well, you know, first I had to take my licks, and then I was doing my radio for a while, and I decided that I'd had enough of promoting people, and I said, I'm going to take time off until I know what I really, really want to do. And I took about 1.5 years off, and I would meditate every day, and nothing came, and nothing came, and nothing came. And then finally, God said, somebody had said to me, what can I do to change the world? I'm just one person. And I would say, you can do a lot. God said, go find one person and keep finding that one person and the other one person, the other one person, and show people what they can do to change the world. And that's when the Good Radio started.
Wow.
There's so many stories out there. People, you know, it doesn't have to be a grandiose gesture. It can be bringing somebody meals every day. It can be, you know, waving at those kids who go to school back and forth every day that nobody, you know, looks at or smiles at. It doesn't have to be big, but whatever it is that they do, they're moving people and they're changing people for the better. And so, yeah, I interview big people and I interview small people, but the thing is that everybody I talk to is conscious. They're conscious of what they're doing. They're conscious of how they're changing the world.
You know, you alluded to something a few minutes ago when you were in hospital rehabbing from the motorbike accident, and you did that poll as to were they positive or negative? You know, what were the parents like, right? Did you see a correlation between those that were positive and their progress with their healing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And it was interesting to try to reach those who weren't, you know. And I had a friend who was also in a motorcycle accident, was a brain injury survivor, and volunteered at St. Mike's. And so a woman came in, same injuries as me, almost exactly the same injuries as me, but she had been a snowmobile racer, and her track came off about 200 miles an hour. So he said, can you come down, because like her husband's freaking out. He doesn't know if she'll ever live or walk again or whatever. You know, if he could see you, maybe he'd understand that, you know, you can get through this, right? Because her injuries are almost exactly like yours. So I'm like, okay. So I went down to St. Mike's, and I was still like hobbling around and everything. And I talked to her husband, and he goes, but who helped you? I go, what do you mean? Who helped you? What man? Where's your man? I go, I don't have a man. What man? What man are you talking? I don't have a man in my life. And he goes, no, like, you know, how did you do this then? With my mind. You do it with your mind. And you know what? Nobody can help you do it, really. I mean, people can support you and you know, cheer you up or whatever. But the reality is that the hard work, the physical work, the mental work, that mental game, that inner game, that's all you. You have to do that yourself. And so you have to be your support system and your best friend and, you know, your cheerleader. You have to do that, because nobody can walk for me. Nobody can get inside my head and, you know, steer for me. They can't do that.
How did you prevent from not, well, no, I'm going to ask the victim question in a minute. How did you not let the anger and the rage of it all not get to you?
I wasn't angry.
Wow. How could you not be angry?
I don't know. Like I because I guess I always felt that it was for a reason. Maybe. I always felt that this was happening for a reason, and that it was my journey to go through this. And so there was never any anger. The anger I did have was after I was out of the hospital, and I was in extreme pain, and the insurance companies were sending me, they called them DACs. And so you had to go see doctors that the insurance company wanted to send you to, so that they could, you know, hopefully get you off of the system kind of thing, and you know, get rid of you before you ever had to go to court, and they'd have to, you know, pay you out any money. So I was at a DAC, and this doctor said to me, he goes, how are you coping with the pain? I go, what can I do? I can't get any, there's nobody who wants to help me. And he slipped me a name of a doctor, and he was a pain doctor. And he said, don't tell anybody. He goes, but call this man, because I don't even understand how you're walking around. And I was like, bless you, bless you, bless you. And you know what? Every DAC I went to, they were, you know, pretty much all the same. But the anger came when I went to the hospital, because I used to have to go to the hospital, and these doctors would get out their tape measure, and they would measure my scars. And I have a lot of scars. Mm-hmm. And they would measure the scars, like, and you were laying on a table like a slab of beef, and they talked about you like you weren't there. And it's 34 inches, it's 12, it's, you know, it's this, it's that. And I would start to cry, because it's like, wait, I'm a human being, I'm a woman, you're saying all this stuff, and I'm right here, and you're acting like I'm nothing, but like I'm not even a conscious slab of beef. And two male doctors said to me, two of them said to me, he goes, what first doctor said, I hope you're not planning to date. And I go, why not? And he goes, well, you know, your commodity as a woman has been depleted by at least 30%. I'm like, excuse me? Like, why would you say that? Yeah, okay, so I got some scars. They're you know, they're my road tattoos or whatever, sure. Right? Like, I can be positive about it, but they were just like, you know, don't even think about it. Like,
they say the stupidest things.
They say the stupidest things. So that on top of, like, you know, the measuring and all of that stuff, like, I just felt like worthless. I felt less than worthless, because I don't even know why they would even think to say that to me. Like, why would you even bring it up? You know?
Were you surprised, like, by how people responded to you? Like I know, you know, in my journey, there's people that have just sort of dropped off, probably for the better.
A lot of friends dropped off. Well, first of all, I'll tell you, in the hospital, because you're a motorcycle victim, you're a blood donor. When you're a car accident victim, oh, we're so sorry for you. That was a terrible accident you had. But when you're a motorcycle, you're a stupid idiot. Why did you get on a bike? Because this is what happens. right? That's the difference between
Mhm.
patient care right away. So, I have a real affinity and feeling for those who come into a hospital. I wasn't fooling around. I took all the courses. I took the safety courses. I knew how to ride a bike. I was riding the bike to my best of my ability. I did not have an intersection. I did not have a sign for an intersection. He was hidden, and he decided to go. He lived on that road. He knew that road. He knew he was crossing a highway. Like, there was nothing I could have done to prevent that accident. All I saw was a blur of red. Boom, hit me. When I got called to go to traffic court for him, I had been assigned a driver, and I said, Jack, will you go with me? Because I don't want to go, really. And the Crown Attorney said, you have to come. Please come. I really need you to come. I showed up for that, David, and it was like I got kicked in the gut. I show up, and the guy's like, he knew who I was. I probably couldn't have identified him, but he knew who I was.
Mhm.
And the judge said to him, do you plead guilty or not guilty? He goes, he was going to plead not guilty, apparently. He goes, I plead guilty, Your Honor. And the judge said, I am so glad you told the truth. He goes, $30 fine. You got a $30 fine for not crossing the highway properly. My whole life has been changed exponentially. My whole life has been like unbelievable. He got a $35 fine.
So that's my next question. We could
That
all
I was a little bit angry about.
yeah, but we could all become a victim to this.
Yeah.
How did you not allow your victimhood to overtake you?
Well, part of it was because I had been raised by a victim, and I did not want to be that person.
Mm.
So I really did not want to be that person. And it's just not my natural inclination to be that person. I'd rather be the one who's like, oh, look how cool she is. She's doing all that cool stuff, and she can't even walk. Then oh, poor girl, oh, feel sorry for me, please. I don't want to be that one. I'd rather be the one who's doing the cool stuff.
So this is like what, 10, 12 years ago now?
17.
17, and you're still living with pain.
Yeah.
And there's still pending surgeries.
Yeah.
In the spring, maybe.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? It's like it's every day.
Yeah, it is every day, and it's actually worse today than it was back then. Age, arthritis rolls in, and all kinds of stuff happens, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. But
you look marvelous, by the way.
Thank you. But what are your options?
Packing it in,
going.
Yeah.
That's one. Nobody gets any money.
No.
Don't do that. I thought of it early on. Actually, when I was in the hospital, I thought, oh, I'll just kill myself and my kids will get the money and everybody will be fine and nobody has to look after me. And, poor me. You have your poor me days.
Oh, yeah, you for sure.
Everybody has them.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, wait a minute. They don't pay out when you're a suicide victim. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Bad idea. Bad plan. Let's, we have to come up with a new one. Plan B, C, D, E.
Yeah. We're kind of like 7:38. Let's take some questions. If anybody's got questions, something you want answered, unmute yourself. Paolo, you were there video-wise. Now you're muted and I just see your name. Diane, Asha, Michael, guys, chime in.
I have a question actually. It's Michael.
Hi, Michael.
I was noticing on your bio that you essentially started a media company, and I'm a podcaster. I've got a couple of podcasts going right now, and I'm sort of wondering what steps you took and how did you build what you have now?
Well, I do live radio, and like you, it wasn't called podcasting back then because podcasting happens after it's live traditionally. But you know what? There was a time when I did 7 different shows. And that's how I kept my brain, from feeling sorry for myself. Everything that I was interested in, be it music or marketing or sports or coaching or psychobabble. I mean, I had all these different shows and dating shows and midlife mojo show, all of these amazing shows. You know what? Like, they filled my day and they fulfilled me, and having people, I work with publishers. And so getting the books like that excited me. I'm a Gemini. I love to read. And one of the amazing things about becoming a radio host was I used to be on the radio show on CFRB sometimes in Q107, and I'd go to the green room and they'd be filled with these books, and I'm like, oh my God, how exciting. Like Spider Jones, Spider, look at all these books. Do you ever read them? He goes, no, never. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? These are all interviews, you know, these are all interviews here. So that was one reason I wanted to get into radio, because I wanted to get those great books. It's just, you know what, the good radio, I've been doing it for 10 years, Michael, and it's just grown, and the audience has grown, and I've tried different, you know, radio companies, and now it's just, I mean, it's not a big thing. Okay. I stream from somewhere else, but the plan is always there, to manifest it into this vehicle. And the vehicle was to be radio that does a world of good. And so to get money for radio and give it to whoever needs it, be it a guest, if they're a nonprofit, or you know, the like my paintings, like down here, they go to pay for cleft palate surgery. So just however, it was just going to be the good radio. It could be in-kind advertising that they need. It could be, you know, a commercial show that they need. Whatever it was going to help other people. And that's how that one came about.
Cool. Actually, one of my shows is all about not-for-profits.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, it really does. It really does sort of hit a audience tone every once in a while. You know, you all of a sudden know, oh, people are going to listen to this.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. And you hope that they do, because they're doing great stuff. And there's so many interesting people out there who are doing so many things that you don't know about. And that's what's so good about us, is that we bring these people to the forefront and showcase them.
Yes, I know. I get it, because, you know, my other show's essentially a weight loss show. I call it A Year to Save My Life.
Oh.
So
awesome.
I'm trying to lose over 100 pounds.
Good for you.
Well,
I lost 100 pounds once.
Yeah, well, this I'm
called a divorce. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I had twins, and I gained 100 pounds with them.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to say this is the second time I've done this. So.
Well, I'm trying to do it too. I'm calling out my positive meltdown. I invited people to join me. Nobody did.
Oh, I've been amazed at the support I've gotten across the board.
Good for you.
You know, and I have 100 people following me at this point. We started 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I don't know that many people. So
that's awesome.
Must have some sort of interest somewhere.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm actually very happy with it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions from anybody else? Paulo, Malachi? No? Okay. I want to go back a little bit. The healing journey, what's it been like since then? And again, how do you cope? How do you always stay positive? Because whenever I talk to you, you're like the most positive. You helped me through mine back in September and October.
I you know what? I think I look for things to do, and I look for things to create that excite me and that build passion in me. And if I can do that, I'm a happy camper. I like to create things. I'm a creator. I don't like to run companies. I don't like to really finish. I'm not a finisher as far as, like, you know, a fine detail person. I'm a big idea person.
You're a visionary.
I'm a visionary. I'm an actionary, actually.
Right.
I coined that, a visionary who acts. So, you know, I have these ideas, and I can put them into action and create things like I did with, you asked me about becoming the first female kickboxing promoter in the world. Well, I was a musician, a drummer, and I was at a recording studio, and I had a teacher who also had a really good friend who was a jazz guitarist, but that jazz guitarist was also a world kickboxing champion. He was an 11-time champion. And I was working in the boxing industry by day, and we were putting on gentleman boxing events at the Toronto International Center monthly. And so he wanted a world title fight, and the guys, his ex-managers, weren't interested in doing it. And so he came, our mutual friend said, go see Frankie. Maybe she's interested in doing it. Maybe her group will do it. So he came to see me, and I asked the guys, I'd never been to a kickboxing show before. And I said, hey guys, are you interested in helping, my friend here out? And they're like, no, we're purists. We're not interested. We just want to do boxing. I'm like, okay. So I said, I haven't been to a show before, but if you take me to a show, maybe, right? So he took me to a show. It was so much fun, so much action all the time. Action, action, action. I loved it. So I said, yeah, I'll put on the world championships for you. Had I ever put on the world championships before?
Mm-hmm.
No. Had I ever negotiated with ESPN to do a show? No. Had I ever written the script, gotten the announcers, gotten the sponsors? I went around the world and got the fighters. I matched all the fighters. I, got the purses. I did everything that you do for a world title fight myself. And you know what? It was phenomenal.
And again, you didn't let the accident, the injury, the pain.
Well, this was this was pre-injury, but
okay.
The thing is, it's like, if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. And that always in my head, that's always been in my head. If I go for a job that I don't have, credentials for, or I want to create a world title fight, in my head, if I think I can do it, in my heart, if I think I can do it, I can do it. I can do it. And I have a stepsister, my sisters used to say, how come you got that job in the government and made that kind of money? Or how come you can do that? I go, well, you could do it too. Oh, no, I couldn't. I go, well, yeah, you could. She goes, well, I have my master's from Cornell, and I don't have my master's from Cornell. So how can I can do it? Because I believe I can. I said, you are insecure, and so you can't do it. I can do it because I believe I can. And that's the difference between people who do things and people who don't do things. It's confidence. That's it.
And
it's
even
not because
if you
I'm
don't
better
have it,
educated.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, you fake it till you make it. And that is part of, learning how to be unstoppable.
So what do you do to train your brain? Because, as we said, if a man or woman thinketh, so he or she is. What did you train your brain to think? And what do you train your brain to think to this day?
Yeah, well, okay, I cheat. Because I'm a little bit of a cheater, because I had a dad who told me I could do anything I wanted.
Aww.
And so I was so fortunate to have that. And I believed him. He never lied to me, as far as I know. And so I can do anything. And I proved it to myself over and over and over, because I go, gee, you know what? I think I can climb the sand tower. And I did it. Oh, you know what? I think I can get that job, and I got it. And so, when you get proof and proof and proof, it's easier to think the next time, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. Have I ever quit or, fall? Yeah, of course. People, all the time.
Sure.
One of the things when I was teaching coaching, I used to teach coaching at the International Coach Academy. And so one of the coaches and I were talking one day. I'll tell you, this is how I get to it. We were talking one day, and I don't know, it came out that I was in a lot of pain. And she goes, I wouldn't know that you're in pain. I just heard you teach a class and you didn't sound like you're in pain. I go, well, no, I don't want them to know I'm in pain, but I'm in a lot of pain. So she ended up going, you're unstoppable. Well, I took that unstoppable, and it became the unstoppable Frankie Picasso.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that in front of your name, that's your mantra, right? The unstoppable. You're unstoppable. I'm unstoppable, unstoppable, unstoppable. Every day it's the unstoppable, the unstoppable, the unstoppable. Well, you manifest the unstoppable. You manifest that. That becomes, who you are. And now it played against me because somebody said, I thought you were unstoppable. And I'm like, well, I am unstoppable, but you can't be unstoppable in every area of your life, right? That would just be ridiculous. So if you, Emile Coué, he was the French philosopher guy who he changed the way healthcare was in France. And he went in and I guess he was one of the first guys to do NLP. And he told those people, every day in every way, I get better and better. I want you to say that to yourself every day. Every day in every way, I get better and better. And he did this in the hospital. I think it was in the 30s or something. And the patients got better. They got better faster than those who didn't, say their mantra. So the unstoppable, every day I get better and better, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so if there's something that you can put in front of your name, or something that you want to be, I'm the confident, I'm the, resilient, I'm the determined, that will carry you, because it becomes that focus that you manifest in the world for yourself. Make sense?
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about affirmations.
It's an affirmation.
Do you do affirmations daily? Is that part of your, your ritual? It's part of my morning ritual. I do more affirmations.
I'll be really honest with you people. I'm not very good at doing anything daily. But I do it. I do it at night, and I do gratitude at night before I go to sleep. I do that. And, I think about what I'm grateful for every day. I'm not real good at, daily, but yeah, I definitely do affirmations. And I thought long and hard about how did I get ahead all those years? And it was the unstoppable.
I'm about to do a rebrand in March. I have some healing to go. But I'm going to just get this up here. This is the boot I wear. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah? It's got a front piece to it, too. And I got to wear this now to protect the foot or the toe. And I'm about to maybe relaunch, Embrace the Boot.
There you go.
Yeah. Embrace the brace.
Embrace the boot. My boot. Das Boot.
Out in a boot.
Out in a boot.
I did a business plan boot camp session back in October, and I said, and when we're talking boot camp, we're not messing around.
And you know what? Giving yourself the boot is a really good visual. You're giving yourself the boot. You're kicking your butt. You're making yourself move forward. And that's what it's all about. And you've interjected some humor into it, and it's kind of funny. Your new logo can be the boot. And it's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. and fun, and a way to make fun of a bad situation.
Right. Because it is. And we're all going, a lot of people on the call here have gone through a bad situation. Horrific.
Yeah.
Who helped you through your journey? You said you were, single at the time. Now you're married. But who propped you up when you were down? Who kicked your rear end when you needed it?
Different people at different times, I guess. Nobody consistent. I did. I had to. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
I had to.
I totally relate. Who in your life surprised you the most?
Good or bad?
Okay, well, good and then bad.
You know what? I read that question.
There
I
are
thought,
some stinky people.
Yeah. There are some friends that came forward when I was in the hospital. Some musicians that came to see me. They were friends of my ex, but they didn't want to talk to me. They wanted to talk to me, and I was amazed that they had come to see me. And so that really touched me and surprised me that community reached out to me. Yeah.
And then who surprised you in a not so good way? And what I'm starting to realize is it's just people's fear, because they see you and they go, I hope that doesn't happen to me, because it could.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about fear. Stiles told me that night that they were afraid to ride home. It freaked them out so bad. They didn't even want to get on their bikes and go home. But I think a family member disappointed me.
Yeah.
Huge.
I know, eh? Go figure.
Yeah.
But if you stop and you step back, do you think it's about their fear, their own stuff?
I don't know if it was fear or if it was, retribution, or, just thinking I can get her now, I can get back at her, or whatever it is. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, but it deeply hurt me.
Yeah.
And now I don't care.
Okay, good. So we're almost out of racetrack here, but you do so much. You seem to have, of course, no fear in launching your projects and business ideas. When did you make that promise to yourself? Because sometimes I find when we're going through change, we do change when we're at the lowest of the low. When did you make that promise to yourself that if life was going to give you lemons, you were going to make lemonade and you were going to be unstoppable?
I don't know if that was conscious, David. I've always loved change. Actually, I required change. And so I think that's why I'm a change coach. Because I'm one of those few people that I need it. I'm not good if things are just always the same. Like, I need to have change. I always reinvented myself in my job every 2 years, be it a new job or another actual part of my job or something. I need change. So that part is easy. You know, change your life. That part was the easy part. The hard part is doing it when you feel despondent or passionless or in so much pain that you don't even care sometimes.
And you have those.
But that's when I have to collect myself and go, no, you are a creative person. You're filled with passion. You love to change things. You like to create. And so I make myself do it. I make myself find it. And as I sat with it, out came Rent a Believer this year.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So tell us what that's about.
Rent a Believer. I'm so excited about Rent a Believer. So I was thinking about, as a coach, what do we do? And we hold the faith and hopes and dreams of our clients until we can give it back to them and they believe it for themselves. And so I thought, what do people need? They need someone who has faith and trust in them, and someone that they can rent for a short period of time that's going to like have full on faith and belief in them, and help them, you know, through their journey again, until I can hand it back and say, okay, now you know how to do it. Now you've got faith in yourself. You don't need me anymore. And you don't need a crutch forever. You just need a crutch for a little bit of time. And so many people don't understand the entrepreneurial mind. They don't get it. They're afraid of being a risk taker. They're afraid of that person who's willing to put everything on the line and maybe lose everything. I get that, because that's my personality. That's who I am. I grew up with that. But and I love those people so much, those visionaries, like, oh, I'm going to create, I'm going to build a business, I'm going to do this. Love you guys. And anybody who wants me to believe in them, I'm there for you. Because I know they can. I know absolutely everybody can. They can. They just need someone to say, yeah, you can. I got your back. You know, that's all it takes. And so my dad's not physically with me. I mean, he lives in Mexico. He's 94 years old, but I'm still that little girl who said, you know, you can be anything you want. And I believe you.
What great advice, eh? My dad said, I asked him what a clown made.
He said what?
I asked him what a clown made. You know,
oh my God. Yeah.
I wanted to be a clown. He goes, about 10. You know what he said? What do you care what it makes? Just do it and be happy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Great advice, eh?
Yeah, great advice.
Yeah, just do it and be happy.
I got other great advice too. And I think it's, don't kill people's dreams. You know, don't be a dream killer. And especially with kids. Like,
yeah,
my dad, you know, he always allowed us to dream big dreams. And I still dream big dreams. And with my son, I remember my son was, 12 years old or so, or no, couldn't have been 12. He was like 15 and a half. And he wanted a Jeep. And he goes, Ma, can we go out and get this Jeep? And maybe he was 16, I don't know. Anyway, he must have had his license. So we drove like 2.5 hours to go and see this piece of crap car. And I'm telling you, it was a piece of crap car with these Mickey Thompson tires that kept scraping the wheel well. And there was no floorboards. There was nothing in it. And he couldn't drive stick, so I had to drive it. And he goes, I go, no, this isn't for you, honey, right? And he's like, but I really love it. I really love it. And I'm like, I don't think it's for you. So as he's driving home, he thinks, 20 minutes later, he goes, you know what? That car really was a piece of crap. And I go, yeah, it really was. But the thing was, and I knew it was going to be, but I went and I took him anyway, because that's what he really, really wanted. And he needed to see, fulfill that part of his dream. And I think as parents, that's what we have to do. We have, even though we know, you go and you do it and allow them a dream and allow them, to figure it out. It's a yes or a no for them. And that's what carries you forward in life, that, to continue to dream and know that, yeah, I can go for it. Maybe I don't want it when I find it. Maybe I do.
And that's okay.
And we can change our mind.
You can, and you make your own choice. But not all of us had a dad like you had that imparted that kind of advice. So,
but I'm sharing it with you, so you can take it on.
Yeah. So rentabeliever.com, right?
rentabeliever.com.
Okay. And what else are you working on?
Well, I'm finishing a book about my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so that little project's about over. I'm working on a new, in the new year with another radio host. It's called Podcast Unwrapped. And we're going behind the scenes and showing people about, what happens in podcasting. And also working with a wonderful woman, Dr. Geraldine Tagalove, on the Spiritual Fitness Mastery course that she's doing, bringing her over to North America from Australia to speak to people. And waiting for surgery this year. So we'll see what happens.
And will that help things?
I hope so.
Good. I do too.
Thanks.
So we're almost done. And I want everybody to unmute yourself if you can, because I want us to declare one word that we want to see manifest in 2019. So, Frankie, what's your one word?
Peace.
Anybody else? It's okay. Diane, you're unmuted.
Joy.
Joy. Thank you. Asha? Michael?
Money.
Okay. Paolo? Nothing?
He's muted.
He's muted. Stanley Cup. I know. Asha, anything? No? Malachi? Malachi?
Full potential.
Okay. Nice.
All doable.
Undoable?
All doable.
All doable. Oh, yes, for sure. Healing here. Total healing.
Yeah.
Final call for questions. Anybody have questions?
Hey, David, it's Diane. Frankie,
Hey,
I don't really have a question, but I just want to say thank you as a sister Gemini who struggles to do things every day that I know are good for me and are helpful and all of that. It's so nice to hear someone else say that, nah, I'm not so good at the everyday thing. And yeah, like
I get it, Diane. I get you.
yeah, absolutely. Like, oh yeah, I really do need to do that. No, I can't do it now.
There's too many other things you have to do at the same time.
That's
the
right,
problem.
that's
We
right.
want to do 10 things at the same time.
So I appreciated hearing that, and affirmation that by leaving my job every 2 or 2.5 years is really a good thing for me.
It is. It is. Good for you.
Yeah. So
You're
thank you.
listening to
Thank
your
you for
inner
sharing that.
voice. I like that.
Yeah, Diane, your affirmation should be, I find new and exciting jobs every 2.5 years.
For sure, David.
Yeah, that pay more.
Yeah, always.
Or
Preferably.
make me happier. One or the other.
Exactly.
Thanks, Diane, for that.
Yeah. Anybody else? Malachi? Questions? All right. I think we're going to wrap up. It's a little after 8. Frankie, thank you for this.
David, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and to the people that love you.
Thanks. Well, the love is mutual for everybody. Everybody on this call is like very special people. And I want to affirm and attest to Frankie's Rent a Believer coaching program. She coached me through a really challenging time back in October, and is so gracious, and you're so huge, and you have such a beautiful heart.
Thank you. Let me say one thing real quick. I had a client when when I first started coaching. The name of the company was Conversation with My Shoes.
Right.
And it was called Conversation with My Shoes because I used to think, I envisioned people who were like going through something, they would either look up at the sky and go, oh God, or they look at their shoes, right? And just sitting on a park bench, kind of looking down. So I had a client, a guy, and he said, if you don't want to change, don't hire shoes. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to let you fail. I'm not going to let you, stay stuck. I'm going to make sure you move forward. Like David got the boot. You got the boot, David.
Yeah, I'm booting myself. No, I think you have to move forward. You have to move forward. And, with adversity, I think adversity makes you braver. Would you agree?
It can. I think what it does is it hyper focuses you. See, change happens best in chaos. Because everything else goes away, and you can only just narrow focus down on what is happening exactly on that scene right then and there. That's why it's so easy to change when it's out of your hands. It's literally, like those people in the fires in California, their houses are gone. What are they going to do? It's chaos. They have to change. Life is going to change for them. They don't have a choice. If somebody had come knocked on their door the day before and said, "Hey, you're going to change your life," they're going to go, "What the hell? I'm not leaving my house." But God took care of that. Now they don't have a house, so life is going to change. That's how it happens quickly in chaos. But you were talking about in adversity. I do notice that adversity is one of the ways that the universe gets people to wake up to their true self. We have this socialized self, and we live with that socialized self long into midlife. And somewhere in midlife, something happens, a wake up happens, and we start to break out of that shell of socialization. Good little David, you did what you're supposed to do every single day, right?
This, yeah.
And now you're breaking out to become that true person. That's what my book Mojo was about. Become that emerges that true person you were always meant to be, and not just discover your purpose, but live your purpose, because you came here to do something. You forget about it, because you get bogged down in, life here, but you do have a purpose. And so now that the wake up call happened, and often it happens in adversity because it's the fastest way to get them to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're changing, now you don't have that job. Oh, now he can sit and be quiet for a little bit and start to hear and download what we want him to do. And you'll get those messages and move forward quickly.
Yeah.
And
one last question, because you kind of bring it up. When we're facing adversity, we sometimes get ahead of ourselves. And you said, no, you have to slow down. Remember, right? 3 months became 6 months, whatever. So how do you work on staying in the moment of it all?
Oh, I don't necessarily stay in the moment. I stay in the future.
Wow.
I live in the future backwards.
Okay.
Because I'm always living where I want to be, not where I am.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? All these spiritual experts say, be in the moment, be in the now, Eckhart Tolle and, all these. No?
Well, Eckhart Tolle says, fear lives in the future and regret lives in the past.
Right.
And you can like, for moments of time, and you can sit here and go, okay, I'm in the present. I feel the present, and I'm conscious of my present, and I'm grateful for my present. I'm grateful to you, and I'm grateful to you. But the present doesn't take you forward. You have to live where you want to be in the future. That's where you're manifesting. You're manifesting the future. So you have to be in the future to manifest it, because it's happened already. It's already happened in the quantum world. Your future has already happened. We're here, but really we're here. So now we start to come backwards and go, how did I get there?
So the power of visualization. Now
you're walking backwards to learn the steps to how you got to the end.
Right.
You're already at the end.
Right.
It's a crazy concept.
Yeah.
But
not so crazy. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it.
Yeah, everybody talks about it. So you have to live in the future, and I've always lived in the future to get where I want, because whether it's I'm sitting and decorating a house in my mind, or I'm painting a painting, or I'm discovering what new company I want to build, you have to be able to visualize it and taste it and feel it. And that's being in the future, because there's nothing here.
So do you meditate on that, or what do you do? Do you do daily visualizations?
I don't like to call it meditation. I guess it is meditation, but I don't sit there and go, I drive a car. When I drive a car, that's when stuff comes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a busy meditator. Mm-hmm. So I need to be doing something to get my brain, and then things happen. But definitely you have to be able to live in the future if you want to create a future. You need to be able to feel it and taste it and know it and all that good stuff.
I totally agree. Man, we had a lot of good information tonight. We went extra, so you got a bonus. Thanks again. Anybody last questions, comments? No, we're good. So I want to thank everybody who's been with us since week 1. Have a good week, a beautiful, peaceful Christmas to you and yours, Frankie. And
thank you. Happy holidays to everybody here.
Yeah, and please, for all of us, on tonight. A happy, healthy, and abundant year ahead. Boy, we need it. We need that future to look really bright.
It's going to.
I know. I agree. So that's it for tonight's call. Thank you again.
Thanks everybody for showing up.